really is a beautiful facility, and one paid for out of cash reserves, which I think is also a unique position for any company to be in. Now, as important as product innovation is to our success, equally important, and perhaps this is an area, an aspect of our business that the street might have the hardest time understanding just because our channel is somewhat new to the street. But equally important to our growth is the fact that we continue to innovate within the direct selling channel. So, for example, one of the things that really put Nu Skin on the map in the early 90s was the fact that we enabled our salespeople to be compensated globally, be compensated in their home market in one check for sales that they generated anywhere in the world. That was a unique attribute of the Nu Skin business model at the time, and still today. There are many, many large direct selling companies that don't offer this benefit to their salespeople. So that was an example of a significant channel innovation. Our most recent significant channel innovation is the way that we launch products. I think increasingly people are becoming familiar with the fact that we are introducing products on a limited time offer basis. So we will introduce a product at a global convention globally for a limited period of time, take that product off the market while our sales force then educates their consumers and salespeople below them about the product and prepares for a regional LTO launch of that product, and then in the ensuing months release the product full-time for ongoing purchase ability. Now, this mechanism may not make sense for very many companies, but it makes sense for us. It works in our model, and it works beautifully in our model, and after all, I think that's what matters most, is how does the mechanism work within your model. I want to just show you some numbers here to try to explain how this is working. So you see along the bottom axis there the years, and they alternate between global and regional launches. Let's just take a look at how each of the LTOs we've done over the past several years have impacted our top line. The gray bar here is going to recognize base business, or kind of non-LTO business. As we launch a product first globally and then regionally, you'll note age-lock transformation, the first time we did this, $17 million in revenue, and then the following year, $55 million in revenue as we executed regional LTOs and then rolled the product out on a full-time basis. Now, as we move forward with our next product launch, which was R² in the Body Galvanic Spa, we see $110 million in LTO volume in 2011, and then 3 times that number in 2012 as we rolled the product out on a regional basis. Now along comes 2013 and the TR90 product, and over $550 million in global LTO volume as a result of this product launch. Dan is going to go into further detail on the dynamics of our LTOs, but I think you'll agree with me that we are becoming increasingly effective in the impact of these product launches, and the mechanism is working very effectively within our channel. But at the same time, you see on the gray bar there a rising tide of core business as we go along. So the core business continues to grow while we layer on top of that core business the impact of incremental volume from the LTOs. It's a beautiful thing, and I think a significant innovation in the direct selling channel that I'm actually now seeing people start to copy. The other point that I want to make here, though, is that key to this process is the simple ability to execute in alignment with sales leaders. And this is no small undertaking. Remember that the vast majority of our sales leaders are independent contractors, highly compensated people who we do not control. They can promote and build the business any way they want. And so we go to great lengths, as much as a year ahead of time, to start the training process and start to co-opt these sales leaders into company growth initiatives. Because frankly, if we don't have their support, we go nowhere with how we're trying to grow the business. Dan Chard and his team are getting increasingly better at co-opting sales leaders into this process. And frankly, as our success has grown every year, the job is getting easier because they have definitely become believers. But this execution point here and ability to align sales leaders is one that really shouldn't be forgotten. Now, in any sales organization, goals and vision, mission are important. And in a sales-driven organization like ours, we found that our vision for Nu Skin 2.0, or the notion of taking our company from what was $1 billion at the time to $5 billion in revenue so that we could pay out $2 billion a year in sales commissions, has played a very important role. Our sales leaders have rallied around that vision. And so as we approached our convention a month ago, we realized that we're operating well ahead of schedule in terms of reaching this vision, which was originally articulated for 2020. And so we took advantage of our gathering to launch what we now call Nu Skin 3.0, which is the notion of taking the company to $10 billion in sales so that we can pay out $4 billion a year in commissions. Now, our original timeline for 2.0 was 2020. Now that we're going to hit $3.2 billion in 2013, we have merely altered our original goal from $5 to $10 billion by 2020. And I can tell you from my perspective that when we launched Nu Skin 2.0 in 2010, the idea of hitting $5 billion by 2020 seemed very aspirational because our growth rate at that time would not have supported the achievement of that objective within that time frame. Today, to now have doubled that vision from 5 to 10 actually seems less aspirational to me than it did 5 years ago, because our growth rate is actually north of what we need to do to hit that vision by 2020. Going from 3.2 to 10 is basically an 18% CAGR in the upcoming 6 years. That's doable against where our current growth rate is. So our sales force is now rallied around the Nu Skin 3.0 vision, and we're very excited to pursue that vision. I just wanted to touch briefly on some of the factors that I know you're all familiar with, but that continually reinforce in our minds the viability of what we do. The fact of the matter is, it is simply not getting easier for people to start a business and to succeed at business. The hurdles that entrepreneurs face when they confront the possibility of starting almost any business are almost insurmountable. I mean, it's just not easy. We make business easy for people. A Nu Skin business opportunity is a low-risk, low-investment proposition. And we think that that's played a very important role in the growth of our business and our industry. The other factor that continues to weigh in our favor is just the aging of our society. And this is not a U.S. phenomenon. All countries around the world, really almost all countries around the world, have aging populations. The baby boomer generation in mainland China is about a decade behind our baby boomer generation here in the United States, but is the size of the entire United States population. So they too have an aging population. And as people age, what are the two biggest concerns that they have? Finances and health. Those are the two concerns that people have as they age, and those are the two concerns that we address head on. Those are two of the reasons why we continue to believe that direct selling and the way that we offer it in particular is one of the lowest risk, highest reward opportunities that's available in the marketplace and will continue to bode well for us going forward. Now, I want to turn the time over to Dan Chard, who's going to do two things. Number one, he's going to dissect our LTO product launch mechanism in more detail. And number two, he's going to do a case study for you all on how our business in China continues to grow and why we believe that we can sustain a high rate of growth in that environment in particular. Dan.